So hi guys, this is my 2002 TD5 Defender 90, obviously. The fuel pump's gone and it's on the way out. It's making a noise like you wouldn't believe. So it's time to put a new one in. Now, problem is I've had a bit of a nasty operation and I can't get underneath these cars anymore, especially not to get to the back of one of those and take the fuel tank out and drop it down. It's too much for me to do now. So I've gone for the other option, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a hole in the back of the floor pan here, and I'm going to put in one of these, which is a marine port. One of the other guys on this forum or another forum actually mentioned this, and I thought, well, good idea, especially because I live on an island and it's pretty much a marine based island. I think it was quite easy to pick up one of these. 12 euros it cost me, or in old money about £10. I don't know what that is in dollars, about the same in euros I would imagine. But anyway, it's not that expensive. The one I've gone for is 200mm in opening, so it gives me enough room to be able to get the old pump in and out. So anyway, I wasn't quite sure where to drill the holes, but I went on a couple of forums, both on Facebook and some Land Rover forums, and lots of guys had taken some measurements and who have done this before. Some were slightly different, and I suppose that's due to whether you've got a Defender 90, 110 or a series, I would imagine, but this is a TD5, and I went through and we found that there's quite a lot of there's a bit of play there anyway. So what I thought I'd do, I marked out the centres. I'll put the dimensions that I used at the end of the video, but what I did, I thought, yeah, I'll cut a little square hole. I'm using a Dremel, which, because this is only 2mm plate, and a Dremel goes through this quite quick. And plus the fact, the good thing with the Dremel as well is that you don't go too deep. You can gauge yourself as you go through, because obviously the actual tank is quite high up to the floor of the Defender 90. There's a couple of reinforcing bars that go sort of longitudinal and sideways across the floor, and the actual tank itself is pushed up against that. So you've got about, I would say, 10 to 12mm of play before, or only 10 to 12mm of play before you actually hit the top of the tank. So, and plus the fact you can't see what you're doing, I thought what I'd do, I'd get underneath and slide something like a piece of, another piece of tin or something underneath to give me a bit of a barrier. But you just can't slide anything. I've been under there, I've looked, you just cannot get anything under there. So I was very careful. I knew I had a bit of play in the middle because the fuel pump does sit down in the tank. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go and we'll take it slow, and it was okay. It was, not many problems. And the good thing about this is that this is aluminium as well, so you don't get that many sparks coming off it. You get a few, but not that many. And it's not enough to do anything that many underneath there anyway, unless you've got a massive leak. I wouldn't advise doing it. Anyway, I'm going to carry on now, and I'll pick up this little video that I'm doing when I've got a bit further. As you can see, I've cut the hole in the middle, and that from there you can see that if I actually try to go 90 degrees, you'll see the hole I marked out, and 90 degrees, which is about, I would say about there, what you're getting is where I've marked it out comes to the top of the electric plug, more or less to the top of the electric plug. So I can pick it up from the one I've got. So it's pretty central. So I'm going to start cutting round now. I've started to mark out where exactly I'm going to go. And you can see I've done one run with the Dremel, which is just basically, doing this with the Dremel as I'm working around, and I'll do one side and the other, and we'll gradually take it down. And you can see as you just go through. So you're not going to be. There's no chance that you're going to go much deeper. That's for sure. I'll pick this up in a moment, guys. Okay, I've now got to the point where I've cut out the circle for the marine port, which I'm going to put in afterwards. And as you can see, if I come directly above, the dimensions that I got from the boys online were pretty much spot on. I mean, you couldn't get much better than that. So what I'll do, I'm going to make a note of those, and I'll put them in the link below this. But it needs a good clean up, that's for sure. What you don't want to do is to get dust and dirt that's down here falling into the tank. What I would say is that, let's get it in focus. What I would say is that this area, which you can see just there, has got a couple of depressions in it, and that does cake in a bit of dirt and grease, which it's going to pay just to spend 10-15 minutes to get all that out. I've just wiped this with a damp microfiber towel, and as you can see, it's come up sort of quite. It's not bad really, but then again, this TD5 hasn't done an awful lot of off-roading. It's done some, but not an awful lot. So it's never really been through mud or to that depth where it would go over the top of the fuel tank. Anyway, I'm going to give this a good clean up now, and then I'll come back a bit later on and show you what I'm doing, as opposed to getting off this nut, because I don't have a key to do this. So I'm going to have to use a chisel, and we'll see how easy that comes off. But it could be hard because it's quite deep, and getting the chisel in at an angle, we'll have to use a long chisel, that's for sure. So I've cleared up all the way around the edge with a small file on the end of the Dremel, and it's all quite nice and smooth. But I want to keep it nice and tight, because I want to put a bit of a sealant around there. But I just want to see if this now fits. What I'm going to do is put a screw to the top and screw to the bottom. I can feel it's quite a tight fit, but that actually goes. I'm quite pleased with that. What I can do now is just drill these in and self-tap them through into this, because this is over 3mm thick, so that'll take a screw, and this isn't going anywhere anyway. It does sit proud a little bit from the floor now, and if I put the carpet or the flooring back over it, is going to be a bit of a bump. So what I'm going to do, this actually, not that you could, I'll use this, it's about 5mm, 3 to 5mm over over here. So I'm going to get some plywood, the size of the floor, and I'll cut this hole out, and then I can put that down, put the carpet over the top. I'm going to lose, 3 inches of height in the car. Nothing to worry about. But what it does mean is that if this fuel pump ever goes again, there it is. I can get to it. Not a bad job. I'm really pleased with that. Now, to get these pipes out, you'll see there's a lug which is basically there and there, which need to be just pushed in. You can see there. You can see them pushing in there, and it's hard to do it with holding the camera's hands on. But that there, and that would just pull out. The problem I've got, funny enough, which is usually is getting this connector here, taking that out of the frame. It's absolutely wedged in, and even the lugs on the side. Can't get the light on, but even the lugs on the side are not doing it any favour whatsoever. So there it is. The new fuel pump is put into the Defender 90 TD5, and I've put the marine port in, just put the finishing screws in, and it's quite solid. So all it needs to do now, I've taken it out, got a good clean up. I've tried it, I've driven it, it's fine, everything's working well. So now all I need to do now, this is how it works. You just put the lid back in and screw it up like this. Done. And then you go just a small bit, and that's waterproof because that's a marine port. And then when I ever need to do it again, it's as simple as rolling back the carpet he says, trying to do one hand, rolling back the carpet, and then have an access like that. Why didn't they design that in the first place to be like that? Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, guys. That's the thing to do. If you want to do a TD5 90 or 110 and change the fuel pump, you can drop the tank, you can get underneath, you can undo 27 bolts that are all rusted on or welded on, or you can do it this way, cut out with the Dremel. I used the Dremel on mine, cleaned up the edges with the sander, but I used the Dremel. That way you had full control, so I didn't go too deep. And that's it, the port's back in. Now this, the only thing about it is, if you look down here, it sits a little bit proud, which is about 5 millimeters, I suppose. But what I've done, I've actually, you can say, I've got this thick rubber flooring in mine, which is fantastic for the noise. But what I'm going to do is just take that out and put in, I've got a sheet of 5mm ply. I'm going to put that in, cut it to size, put it in and cut the hole out. Cut it so and then cut the hole around this so it goes on, and then put the matting back over the top. You won't even know it's there. So as you can see, the trim's back on, the floor's back on, and I'm really pleased with this. At the moment I haven't put the plywood back yet, so there is a bit of a hump here, or rather here, which obviously you can't see very well with the video, but no, it's not that bad. And at the moment, what I'll do, I'll just take these screws back out along here, take the edge off and the seal, and then I'll take the floor back up, put the plywood down with the hole cut in to bring the floor 5mm up in level with the marine port, and that's it, done. So this is a finished job. I'm really pleased with that. I'll be putting a link below which shows you the measurements of where I drilled or cut the hole, shall we say, in the floor to put this fuel pump in. If you subscribe, why not? I'm going to be doing a few more jobs on the TD5, and if I do, I'll film them, and if it helps someone, then it's worth doing, isn't it? Okay, thanks for watching, cheers.